This week's episode is brought to you by Tabletop Backer Party on Facebook, which is the largest board game crowdfunding group on this side of the internet. Picture this. You're awake in the dark, no memory of who you are, and your only possession being a small flickering candle in the dark. Then maybe Night Cage from Smirk and Dagger will be your last chance to escape, as 1 to 4 victims will have 50 minutes to locate keys in an ever-changing labyrinth, dodge monsters, barely escape falling through the floor, and cooperatively make it to the exit all in one piece. To embark on this little nightmare, it'll start at $35. Hello, fellow gamers. Welcome to I'd Back That Kickstarter with Gloryhound and
DrGloryhogg.
The fancy DrGloryhogg. DrGloryhogg shaved his beard a little bit, and he gets all fancy after that.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I didn't realize. That might be it.
You feel like extra fancy after that is what it is. Hello, everyone in chat today. Looks like we have...
I'm trying to woo the audience, right?
Are you?
Woo. Woo, woo.
Is
it working? I don't know.
Romantic tips by DrGloryhogg.
And that is how you woo YouTube. Woo, woo.
It looks like we have Battle Cry in chat. Petter, we have...
Fatal Paper Cut.
That's
Eric,
right.
Vincent, Robert, David. So many people.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for showing up to our stream today.
Definitely, because we only do it live because of the audience. Without the audience, we wouldn't do it live. We would just do it recorded, like at Sunday at 6 p.m. or something.
And if it's your first time here, make sure to like and subscribe to our content, because we do this every single week where we talk about 4 different Kickstarters that are current on Kickstarter right now, and if we would back them or not, okay?
And there's John, and they think I should dye my beard.
What color?
I don't know.
Oh
it's
my gosh.
It's kind of, technically, it's already 3 colors, because it's like my regular hair color brown, plus it's got red in it, and then there's gray, and sometimes like random black hairs, so I don't know. It's already so messed up. I don't know if adding another color would help.
And just as a note, our sponsor from Tabletop Backer Party is the Night Cage today, but that does not influence our decision on having them on our show, okay?
Right.
It's 2 separate processes. I get that in from them later, and we pick these. Yeah, we pick these separately, and that's a third-party thing. So just as a note, everyone, okay?
100% unsponsored content by board game creators.
Absolutely, and I think that's super important, because I don't want our decisions to be influenced by that, right, everyone? Are we ready? Are we ready to start?
We spend too much of our own money to be influenced, I think.
Well, I guess that's pretty true. So first up, we have Rallyman Dirt. This is by Holy Grail Games. It's going to be for 1 to 6 players, and this should last about 60 minutes. This is a racing style game where you're going to be using dice placement to get yourself through this track. This is the 2nd edition per se to it. It is a standalone game. It is not necessarily an expansion to the first one. And you're going to be racing, what is it, more against the time, DrGloryhogg?
Yeah, you still have opponents out on the board, but it matters like if you're in 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, as far as like kind of what kind of damage you're taking, how far you're getting along the track, the time. You take more time. Thank you very much, Vincent. And this game actually has been produced before, but it was like in 2007, and it was out of print for like I think 6 or 7 years, and the community kept wanting to play it. So then it's being re-implemented and redone. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, thanks so much for your support of our show, Vincent. And let's see here. John thinks that you should go, what was it, John Green? Green with your hair?
Because it would match your hair. So we'd have, well, she's got like the red purple going on, and I think her hair's going to get more purple, right?
I think I'm going to do like maybe red pink or something. We're going to see. We're going to see. This is stage 2 of hair development, everyone.
I'm so glad everyone's here, because I haven't played Rallyman myself. And
yes.
I've been really looking for this type of game, and I don't know for sure if this is it or not.
This is the game for you.
It feels really close. So we're going to talk a lot about a couple different things. I want to define some things for me. So for me, theme and passion in a game are very important. I'll bring that up now. It'll come out later. I think that a lot of these projects this week are very like passion-driven, and there's one I don't feel like as much, but we'll get into that. And then I'm going to use the term casual gamer versus hobby gamer. Now, for me, a casual gamer can be someone who plays Gloomhaven. Doesn't mean you like light games. It just means you play games every once in a while. Your collection's kind of small. You kind of, only play a few games a year. It's not that you have like the same group you always play with. That I consider more of like a casual gamer. Like if you play Magic the Gathering once a week or once every month or something like that, that's casual gaming, right? And that's 100% fine. And then there are hobby gamers. So a hobby gamer is somebody who's got like 300 plus board games on their shelf. More board games than they have days of the year. More games than you could possibly play if you picked up a new one every single day. And I just want to kind of do a little preface of that before we get into some of these games.
So Eric says, if you're interested in getting a feel for the system, Rallyman GT is on Board Game Arena, which is super great to know. Absolutely. So,
which we've been diving more and more into those.
Absolutely. This has like a little modular board on it, so you can kind of change up the tracks and everything. I'm really excited about that portion of it, which I was excited about the previous game with this. Don't get me wrong, I am so excited about this game. And if you are, know that this game is hard to find at game stores and everything.
Yeah, because we tried to get a copy of this beforehand.
Specifically went out to look for Rallyman GT because it's a game I've wanted to play, and now since they're making the second one, I wanted to have it at my home so I could play it and everything. And I called pretty much every store in the Valley except for one that I know that is pretty far out there, and none of them carried it.
Because the Valley is pretty big.
We're talking about bigger companies like the Gaming Goat, which is everywhere, basically.
One of our favorite local game stores, which is Game Depot, and they've been around for like, I don't know, 30 years or something. They're like one of the first game stores in the state.
And like, not Imperial Outpost. That was the only one I didn't call was Imperial Outpost.
That's Drive.
Games U and stuff like that. Yeah. So I called several game stores trying to get my hands on this game. And as far as Rallyman GT goes, if you're looking for that game,
good luck.
Good luck.
It might be more available where you're at, but we've had a hard time finding it.
I think I even looked online. I think I started looking. The only place I didn't want to look was Amazon. So I didn't look on Amazon, but I think I did look at Miniature Market and stuff too. I just couldn't find both. But if you're interested in them, is what I'm saying, is this is going to be the campaign to do that, because you can get both, I believe, during this as well. You can get GT and Dirt if you want.
There's some expansions you can pick up.
Right, absolutely. So this is like the time to do it. If you missed it last round, like this is your time, okay?
Which for me personally, I like the idea of the Dirt more, because I've always liked, I don't really watch racing per se, but I am tempted by watching rally racing. Like I've liked those types of video games more, and when I do catch it on like, Facebook Watch or something like that, I'll watch the Dirt ones, because I'm interested in the sliding around, because I used to go out and with my car and do dumb stuff and try to think I was cool.
Vincent thinks we should do red and green for safe and danger.
If I'm your safe, that's good. She is definitely the danger. You are definitely the danger.
Oh my gosh, wow.
So, we're not big race fans in this house.
No, we aren't.
Like, we don't watch, like, NASCAR or anything.
I like racing games, though. I think more than you do.
I don't think I've really played a lot of racing games.
I like racing games.
So, when you say racing games, are you talking about video games or board games?
Definitely racing video games. Like, I really like racing video games.
So we played, like, Burnout, and I used to play, and we played Mario Kart, and I used to play a lot of Carmageddon, like the ones that were more, like, smash 'em up.
Where you're smashing
metal.
through, yeah.
I played a lot more of those than just the straight racing ones. I played some Gran Turismo and stuff, but they were never my favorite games. Like, I don't go out of my way to get them, but I play them.
I really like them. And the ones you can do, they had some, back in the day, they were like the space ones where you were kind of like on motorcycles, and then you go on the sides and stuff to power up your motorcycle for like the next time around the track. And like I really, really like racing games in general. So this has always been super exciting for me. I'll tell you what hasn't been super exciting for me with this, though, because this marks like all these check boxes for me. Modular boards, yes. So things can change. Racing game looks amazing. I love the way that the turns are going to cost different things. And then we come to dice, and I'm like, I'm so bad at rolling dice.
Because at its heart, this game is a push your luck game.
Yes.
With dice.
Which
is really tough for you.
That's like a big... so, though. Rightly so, because whenever you're taking those turns, you are trying to pass people and stuff, you are pushing your luck. So there's really nothing negative about it. It's just an internal thing for me, personally.
I think you have to know that going into it, right? Like, if you're going in to play Quacks of Quedlinburg, you know that there's definitely a lot of push your luck element into it. And so you have to know that going in. If you go in, like, super strategy mode, you're going to be disappointed by that game. I think this is kind of the same way. I will say there's a lot of ways you can kind of manipulate the dice, because you got to get 3 hazards in order to, like, crash or something. And then even then, it's like dependent on your place will determine what cards you get, which will determine how many things you pull out of the bag, which will determine how much damage you take, and if you lose a tire or if you lose brakes or whatever. So there are like steps into it. So it's more complex than just like rolling dice and like, oh, I lose.
Right. No, absolutely. And I want to get to our comments here really quick, because
but you got to roll dice. You just have to roll dice.
Let's hear. So Petter says, I'm very tempted by Rallyman Dirt, but I have Formula D that I need to play. I totally understand, because those two always come up in my mind with both of those, which
Formula D we were unable to obtain at the time because I think it was like out of print when we went to get it, or it was really popular and it was off the shelves. There's some reason.
Or we might have been poor. That could have been a reason.
Or we might have been poor. So.
That's the reason sometimes why we don't buy games. It's like Burritos, games. And you have to weigh that out.
David says GT is a great step up from Downforce, which is really good notation. It's really good note on that.
And I like that there's a lot of mitigation for it. So I'm glad we have people in here that have played it, because there is a big community around this where they do like World Cups and Grand Prix and all that stuff. Even though the game was out of print, people were still doing big tournaments and stuff for this game.
Ooh, okay. And Eric says gameplay. So gameplay, Rallyman versus Formula D. Rallyman has better gameplay, but as far as fun factor goes, Formula D seems a little bit more fun.
For Eric?
And, you know, that's a very interesting comparison. I love how you broke that down. That's perfect. And I was actually going to ask our chat, whoever has played Rallyman GT, and your comparisons, and if you would back this game, because Rallyman Dirt, like with the differences that you're bringing with having it specially placed against more of the time than versus the other players and stuff, if you're interested in that.
Which I think for me is not a selling point, because the thing that I liked about like Car Wars, for example, or Carmageddon was that smashing. Like I liked ramming the cars together,
so you're
and tearing
down for
up
GT.
wheels, and well, I like when the racing games, like I always like the Burnout games where you could crash into people and stuff. Like I always like it when you can affect the other players and be like, you're not passing me, and like bump them off the track and stuff. I know I'm a bad person, but listen, I want to drive my cars in games like I wish I could in real life, but without anybody getting seriously injured and damaging my own car. Right? Because come on, we've all been on the freeways.
I want to drive my cars in games like I would want to in real life. That makes sense.
The closest I've ever gotten to getting to drive like that is on deployment, where you can drive however you want. There's no rules, no roads.
I just want some cannons mounted to the front of my car in real life.
That's fair.
I mean, if somebody honks, I'm going to give them a reason not to honk.
Let me put it this way. I had like a 1992 Blazer when I was young. It was one of the first cars I got. It was the second one. But I would go out and do stuff in the desert that was dumb, to the point where I went down this ravine, like kind of across some water, and then ramped up a thing, and I hit a bump, and when I came down, my Blazer went ba-boom, ba-boom, like this, and I snapped the axle. So I want to drive like that, but in a game, because now I'm an adult, and I don't want to pay for a new axle.
You don't want to ruin things.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin my cars like I used to. I used to ruin my primary vehicle all the time, and now I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, no, I've got to get a quad or something else so that if I break it, I can still get to work on Monday. And that's because I'm old, everyone. I am old. And I don't want to break my cars anymore.
John says, what makes Rallyman more tempting to me over Formula D is the track tiles. I love modular boards.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have certain scenarios that you have to play through and stuff like that, you can always like make your own. Like you can always make something interesting with modular boards and make your own game. And I love the versatility of that, because it never ever gets old. You know, you can always make something different and make something for the community. You can be like,
Carmageddon, hashtag no fear, hashtag YOLO. No fear was the YOLO for the 90s, right? You were just I'm going to do something stupid, no fear. And that was like the YOLO before YOLO.
That is true. Let's see here.
These are my great thoughts I have on the fly.
Robert says, never played a racing game. Not that I don't want to, just nobody owns one, so I've never tried them. There's honestly
that's another thing, too. We don't
not
know
a whole
anybody
lot of racing games that I can think of.
Right, I can't think of anybody that we know offhand that we normally game with that just has one of these games either. Like, I don't think Greg does, and Greg's got a big collection, but he leans more Euro or light.
Well, and like I said, I like racing games and I would like to play them, but you're 100% right. There's fewer people that I know that have them, which makes me want to get this actually even more. So this game starts at $56, okay, which is, I think, a fair price for all the modular tiles and everything.
Yeah.
And all the components that you're getting in this.
There's some cool stretch goals that are unlocked.
Absolutely. I think that if you're interested in racing games, this would be a really fun one to have. And it may be a little bit more accessible than getting Formula D, because I didn't look up Formula D before this. So I don't know how accessible Formula D is, but I know that this is on Kickstarter right now and you can get it.
So New Board Order says they prefer Downforce over this one, which they played on Board Game Arena. Yeah, I'm not sure. So for me, this one is a pass right now.
Okay.
It's really close. I think if there was a little bit more fender rubbing and some more car crashing, I'd probably be more likely to go in on it. But I think I will have to pass on it right now personally. But it is one I'm interested to put in the future, right, to try. Like, I want to definitely try one of these games in the future and go for it.
Well, I'm writing down Board Game Arena because I'm 100% on just going to Board Game Arena,
And
doing
trying
my
it out.
try before I buy, and doing it because
Whoa,
I
Greg,
want.
calm down. Hashtag free Greg. Hashtag never forget Greg. You can't try before you buy.
I want to get this game. I mean, I do. I want
Okay.
to get this game. I missed it
So
the
now
first
she's
time.
got to convince me is the thing.
Yeah, and I wanted it the first time. I passed on it the first time. I was super sad when I saw it at a convention. I'm like, oh, I want to get that game so bad, but I didn't have space for it. I feel like this has been like a miss for me many times in a row now, and I just want to play the game, everyone.
Okay, that's fair. You make a good point. You make a good point.
Hello, New Board Order. Welcome to the chat. Hello, Games of Fire and Mike
is
Farrell.
in. Yep.
That's right.
Very,
Thanks so
very
much for
much
joining
so.
our show. So I think that if you missed out on GT the first time, this is the perfect time to pick that up along with Dirt. Or if you're just looking to try it, you may decide, okay, well, I want GT because it's more about going around the board and like, you know, interacting with the players, whereas
Right.
other one's more about racing with time. So you can kind of like pick what you want and
I
stuff
am
like
like
that.
so close on this one. So I think playing it on Board
So
Game
close.
Arena could probably sell me.
So close. And
Because I am really close. I really like watching some of the playthroughs I've seen of it.
yes.
I think there's always a difference between watching a playthrough and then having it in your hand. Playthrough gives you a good idea if it's something you think you'll like, and then I have to actually physically play it to know if I like the mechanics in it enough to make it make sense for me to play it.
The only thing I wish is that like
Time
their
is short.
car models on this, I wish they had a little bit more variance in their car models.
Like a little bit more. Yeah, so
I
it
wish they
looks
did.
different.
They
like,
do look
they
a
feel
little-
like they were more sponsored or
Right.
something.
They do look a little different, but I would pay extra money to get car models that did look like cool sponsored cars and everything. Like in our chat, what do you guys think? Would you pay extra for cool little like sponsorship looking cars and stuff? You could put like the board game
would,
company name
yeah.
on it and stuff. It would be hilarious, right?
I would definitely. If they were a little bit
Get
more.
Greg to buy it. Hashtag get Greg to buy it. I like that
Hashtag
one.
I've been trying. Hashtag he doesn't back games. Let's just be real. We love Greg, but he doesn't. He's hard to get to back games. You have to really sell that man.
So the original version of the game was that it was timed racing, one car
Right.
at a time.
Which I was worried this was until I
Thank
watched
you.
the playthroughs, but it's not. You are racing together, and you can block people by like being stuck on the turn or something like that. And then someone's got to take like a riskier shortcut or something to kind of get around you.
Thank you so much, New Board Order, for making sure that was known for that and everything.
Yeah.
Because we have not played the GT version. We missed it on the first one, and I've looked for it, and I have not been able to find it. So that was my other thing was if, you know, you're having trouble finding it, like this is the place to get it, okay? Dr. Gloryhougg, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think I'm good on
All
this
right.
one.
All right. In the comments, let us know if you would back this
Are
game.
we going to our next racing game?
We're going to our next racing game.
It's like so we got double race and double terror. So let's go to our next racing game.
Next up, we have Whale Riders by Grail Games. This is for 2 to 6 players. It's going to last about 45 minutes. This is a Reiner Knizia game. It is all about riding your whale very ethically.
I just realized I don't have a good whale sound. I was trying to make one right there, and,
And
I was
then-
like, ooh, and I was
And
like,
then
I
you're
don't
like,
have a whale sound.
that's not a whale.
I could
That's
do
not
it
a whale,
like,
Dr.
I could do
Gloryhogg.
it from like the Pixar movies and be like, are you there? I don't have a good whale sound. I'm sorry, everyone.
This one, though, is about riding your whale through the water and then stopping at different markets to purchase supplies, and then you're trying to turn in those supplies or sell those supplies for money, and then in turn buy more supplies and so on. You're going back and forth down the board here, and it's sort of a set collection game where you're then trying to get victory points at the end with pearls and money and stuff.
There's some good ones out there. It's good ones. So New Board Game Order is saying that the original was just single, like kind of like one at a time, but the newer one you get to mess with each other more. That was the impression I got too. Is that with GT you get to actually like mess with each other more, where with Rally you don't mess with each other as much. It's all about time. So although Rally is on a dirt, the dirt track
I was gonna
one,
say GT versus Dirt, yeah.
yeah, so GT, you do mess with each other a little bit more, where Dirt, you don't. But then
Okay.
you're losing the modular board. So we'd have to really weigh out which one would be the
No, there
right
was a
one for
modular
us.
board on GT, I thought.
Was there? I'm
I
not
thought
sure.
there was yeah, I'm pretty sure there was modular boards on GT. If I
purpose-
remember
the purpose of
correctly,
this
it's
game-
been a
so
while.
This game is super unique because the pledge levels are...
What's the purpose of this game? Wow.
The pledge levels for this one are unique, everyone. So you can get the board game, you can get the card game, or you can get
yes.
a combination of them.
Hold on.
Which is very unique. We both looked up different aspects of it. She looked more at the board game, and I
Yes.
looked more at the card game.
Which there's a big distinction between the two. They're not
Yeah.
the same game at all. They're two completely different games, everyone.
Yeah, a lot of the same. I mean, you use the same art and everything, but they are. I mean, they are different games. They share a common father.
Do you want to talk a little bit about the card game first?
Okay, so essentially what you're doing with the card game is you're going to get a card full of hands, And on your turn, you're going to draw a card and play a card.
Okay.
And what you're trying to do is make sets, right? So I play a pearl, you play a pearl, this person over here plays a meat. And maybe you need, like, say, 6 meat and 7 pearls. And there's going to be more pearl cards than meat cards because it's a higher number. Once we get out 7 pearls or 7 meat, whatever is that set that actually scores, you're going to take the set that scores into your scoring pile, and everything else that hasn't scored yet gets discarded away. So that's kind of how that works. And you just keep going until you run out of cards or you play 3 rounds. There's like 10 different end game objectives. You can play a simple version, you can play a more intense version. And then if you add the ports into it, what the ports do is they change the rules like a flux game would do. So it'll say, in order to score on this port, you need to have 5 of any type on this game, which is more, like, say, like more pots than you would normally need. So it's going to be harder.
It's harder to get it.
But less pearls than you normally need, which if pearls are 7, so it's a discount. So it'll make pearls easier to score, which are worth more points. So it does kind of change the rules with every port, but you flip out 1 port at a time. So you're changing the rules somewhat every single round when you use the ports. And that's kind of it, which that in of it by itself is probably a very well-balanced game. But like I was saying before, I feel like that is very much a casual game. Like one that you play while you're watching TV, one that you can just kind of casually play with like grandma, mom, friends, brothers, sisters, aunts, your dog. I mean, you can just, it's a real calm, relaxed game. It's not a very intense, thinky game. Is everybody just killing it?
Chat is like,
I see what you did there.
How do you all come up with all of that on the fly?
They're having a whale of a good time.
I can't come up with all that stuff like that. Like, I'm so upset.
You're being a little bit salty. See, John thinks we ought to back this one.
Okay, so David says, theme loses me on this one. Okay, that's a very good comment.
Although that is hilarious, Fatal Paper Cut, that it's a bit overwhelming, overwhelming, I'm going to say that it's not. I think this one is super easy. I think we were talking about...
It seems a bit fishy to me.
What we were talking about kind of earlier before the show is passion, right? And for me, I feel like this game came about from mechanics and lacks the passion
to carry forth the theme.
Yes, so this is a great designer, has made a lot of great games.
Right.
I think that they have tapped this designer so much, though, that they're at the point of like, okay, yeah, I can make a game, and then they make a game. And then they have to go, okay, well, how do we want to theme it? And they slap a theme on top of it. And that's how this one feels to me.
Let's talk a little bit about the board game, because we talked about the card game, and you looked more into the card game, but you know less about the board game. So the board game portion here,
I only know what you told me, which is very little.
You're going to be placing your little boat on this track here, and you're going to be going up the track and then back to the track, and then at each port here, you're going to have tiles that you're going to be able to purchase, okay, as you're going through.
And each of those are ports, which do they have different rules at each of those locations, or no?
They don't, but
okay, so
whenever
that's very
you
different
purchase,
from the card.
I'm trying to find a good picture of the tiles on there. Maybe they don't have one on here.
I will say the designers, or whoever it was that was playing it, that's part of the Grail games, they seem like they're having a great time talking about Disney princess movies while playing the card game. So that's cool.
Well, the tiles, they come down. So when you purchase something, you can purchase it for 1, 2, 3, 4 gold or whatever it is, right? And then once you do purchase it, it comes down, okay? And so you're trying to fulfill these contracts that you have in your hand and getting the right supplies, but you're also trying not to spend all of your money while you're also doing that, you know? So, text, hold on. Hey, buddy, stop scratching around.
They are killing it in chat right now. I love the one. They're seriously right now. They are krilling me in chat. They are krilling me. That was a really good one. So okay, and I think what someone's saying here, I think Erica's saying that this does seem kind of like a game that was made mechanic first, like, okay, what's the equations we need to make this mechanically sound and balanced? And then they threw a theme on top of it. It could have been Masidi. It could have been Santorini. You could have made this a Viking theme. You could have made this a theme about dogs, like riding on top of cats. I mean, you could have made this.
Oh, no, it would be cats riding on dogs.
This could have been, you could have made this about, you could have made this about chihuahuas racing, and then like at each stop, they're trying to collect different types of meat. And then, you know, they're trying to race to get the different types of meat and then get back the fastest, but also have the fullest belly. That could have been its own game. Like, you could have honestly put any theme on this game. And I don't think that's necessarily bad. Mechanics are really important. But for me, it's got to be both. Otherwise, why am I spending my time and energy on it, right? I only got so much time to play games, people.
Okay, so so Vincent says pass on this one, sorry, and everything. These are family weight games, everyone. So this is going to be a game
I call a casual game,
where you're going to be introducing to either kids or new gamers. You're going to be showing them new mechanics that they've probably never seen before, while this is also still going to have that challenging balance of how you're managing your resources, okay? So what tiles that you're paying for, and then the money that you have coming in and coming out versus your victory points, if you're able to score a bunch of pearls. So the timer on this game is once you get back to the end of the board, there's a bunch of pearls that end on that like last track of the board there. And whoever gets there first can start purchasing these pearls, which are straight up victory points. And so I think the timing in the second half of this game is really, really important on trying to finish out your cards to obtain the most victory points per those cards, and then also trying to get to that port to make sure that you're also getting in on that pearl action there and that you're able to collect some pearls while the other player is not able to just steamrail you and like just get all of that and get all those victory points, you know? So I think that the last half of this game is very, very interesting. But I do think it's a lighter game that you're going to be putting on your table, you know?
What's the innovation? What's new in this that you haven't seen before?
Oh my gosh, why is DrGloryhogg being
Listen, I am not a game designer, right? It is hard work. But when you keep tapping the same well over and over and over again, at some point in time, I'm not going to buy it anymore. And I think it's probably mechanically very sound and balanced, but where's the fun factor in it? And I think that people have spoken. Our chat so far is not super into it.
It's not super excited about it, yeah.
Actually, someone's made a joke about Inuit. They're not super into it. But also, realistically, this is the least funded game on our list. I think it's only at 30,000.
That's true.
Where we have the Shivers, which is a brand new creator, 200,000. Rallyman's 200,000.
I just want to make sure that it's known that this is not going to be a bad game. It's maybe just not the best fit for a super in-depth hobby gamer, maybe.
And it's not, I don't feel like it's a Kickstarter game. This is a game that I feel like you could pick up at a garage sale
like
or
a
at
Target
your local
or
game
something.
store. Maybe not Target, but I feel like it's something you pick up.
I think this is like a good Target
weight-wise, but I don't think it would sell at Target personally. But you could pick it up at your game store for like 20, 30 bucks, and you'd probably be fine with it, but it's never going to be a game that's your go-to game. It's always going to be one that you play once or twice, and then maybe give it to a friend or something like that. It's never going to be that game that you're like, oh man, you got to come over and play Whale Riders. It's not that.
Whale Riders, what's up?
To be clear, we do like some lighter games. Fantastic Factories is inherently a lighter game. Love it, and we've played it back to back.
It's about the challenging choices.
You have to have really good choices in it, and it has to feel different to you somehow. Otherwise, why are you playing it?
That's true. That's true. So let's see here.
I don't know if it's better than any of those games, Eric.
John says the disconnect between the theme and the mechanisms makes it a pass for me, and we can see that. I can totally see that. Okay, let's see here. What else do we have? Did I read all this? Is this better than Raw or Medici or Modern Earth than Art than Go Home? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I just don't think it is.
But
and that's not to be, I'm not trying to be negative, but
if you are looking for that family weight style of game, this one is $20. Like this one starts at $20, I believe.
That makes sense.
I'm going down.
But listen, we told you that this is unsponsored and we're backing these with our own money. So for me, I wouldn't back this.
The card game is 10, and then the Whale Riders is 20 bucks. So a $20 family style game, that's not bad. Like that's a win for me in my book.
Right, but realistically, is it going to go on our shelf?
It would be a game that I'd probably purchase for someone like my mom, who is a non-gamer that I know is interested in playing
not a non-gamer,
different games.
Casual gamer.
Well, casual gamer.
You keep
apologies.
saying non-gamer.
My mom is a casual gamer now. She's moved on from non-gaming to casual gaming.
Right, because she plays games. She plays Chai, and she plays lots of other games, but she doesn't play hobby
But
games.
it's going to be something interesting for her to play and for her to show to other people.
Right.
And that's the important part. I can give this game for $20 for like a holiday present or something to my mom and be like, all right, show them how to play. And then all of a sudden they're going to be able to show other people. And it's on that level where it's simple enough that they're going to be able to show other people, but challenging and new for
people that don't game all the time.
Right, exactly. And so easy. Like, yeah, Vincent says, my mom is an ace. You know what? She is. She is fantastic.
This is a very easy entry game. I don't think it's, once again, a bad game. It just doesn't fit for us, and I don't think it'll fit for most of our audience. And that's just...
That's fair.
I got to give you my honest opinion
to my mom
this.
in 2022. Yep, that's right. That's how I do it, actually. I do purchase board games throughout the year
and sometimes
for presents.
We pass them on to people we think will really enjoy them, and that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Especially whenever it's like a $20 game.
Listen,
I mean, that's something that I can bring to a holiday party as like a special gift.
and you can just leave it and walk away. And never think about it
boom,
again.
Wheel Riders. Boom.
And they'll be like,
Somebody
hey, you're
take
forgetting
that.
your game. And you're like, no, I'm not. And then you shut the door real quick. No, so here's the deal. This is still a review show, right? So our opinions aren't always going to match with yours. I've had some disagreements with people in the chat as far as what I think is a good game versus what is not. And we're not always going to be 100% perfect, right? Because we can't play every single one of these games. I just don't think this game has the level of passion and connectivity between theme and mechanics to be a win for our table.
Okay.
And that's how I have to rate it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right, chat. I think we know your decision.
Let's go to the passion projects.
Oh, man.
These next two, I
Dr.
can't even tell
Gloryhogg's
you
so
about.
excited about these next two, everyone.
So the passion behind these games is evident.
First up, we have the Shivers. This is by Pop Fiction Games. It's for 2 to 5 players. It should last about 60 minutes, and you are going to be in a Scooby-Doo-esque style crew in a haunted mansion, figuring out clues in a pop-up style adventure, which is just so amazing, so amazing. Like,
look at this guy. Wouldn't you like him? I wish. Well, I'm not gonna say I wish he was my dad, but I do kind of wish that my dad would like design games to play with us when we were younger.
we just need your dad to design games. Yeah, that would be epic. For
because
real.
we played like Monopoly like once every 2 years, and that was it. My dad did not play a lot of games.
Ooh, okay. So Petter says, I'm so tempted to back the Shivers just for the art pop-up fun factor. Now,
That's
this
huge.
company didn't just stop at going, oh, we're going to make a pop-up game. Like, I love the fact that they went out and they found people that were skilled in certain areas in order to make this come to life. Like, the person who is designing the pop-up portions of this
Does pop-up books.
Yeah, it does pop-up books. And they did that Harry Potter pop-up book that was like super amazing looking. And there's something to be said whenever you go to an expert. I mean, that's just going to make your game so much better. I know everybody loves trying to do things in-house and it's less expensive and everything. And this particular creator had the resources to be able to make it that much better, and I'm so excited about it. This looks so amazing in person. I saw this at PAX. I did the PAX preview for this, and in person, the detail.
It's the Monkey Island artist. I love that PC game.
Yes.
Okay.
So the detail that was put into this game in all the little folds of the curtains hanging down and being able to open up little tiny doors and stuff was so freaking cool. It was so cool, everyone. So New Board Order says, I'd be afraid my younger kids would get a hold of this and tear up the thing. That would be terrible.
Hello, Meeper.
That would be terrible, absolutely.
So, okay, so I want to go over what I think.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I know you're going to ask me anyways. That's
Go
kind
ahead.
of what we do. So I love this game, and I'm not going to back it. So here's why.
What?
I think this game looks really, really cool. I like the idea of it.
Yes.
I think it's perfect for the right age group, right? If you hit that like 6 to 10-ish age group, maybe a little bit older or younger, depending on your kids, right? Because every kid's different. I think it's perfect to play with your kids. Because
Eric.
there is that where you're opening the doors, you're discovering things, you're going through it. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. Playing this with my kids equals Shivers the Legacy game.
That's fair. So here's my concerns about it. If you're a hobby gamer that's trying to get a lot of replay out of this, I don't think you'll get a lot of replay. They do have replayability things where they change like the puzzle. And
Yes.
There's different kind of like stories, right?
Was it like 6 or so? I'm going to scroll down. Eventually we'll get to
It's a
them.
decent amount.
Yeah.
Here's my worry though. Once you figured out that this door opens, you just know that door opens. Like there's no like new mystery of like, oh my gosh, this door opens, or oh, this cabinet opens. You just know that there is something in there. It might be a red herring. It might have nothing to do with the case.
Right, exactly.
But you know that already. That's kind of been unlocked. There's only so many rooms. There's 6 rooms. So once you've kind of done each room, I think it's kind of done. So it feels more like an escape room type of game to me, where you're like, once you've kind of played through each one of the rooms, you kind of feel like you're done with it.
That's kind of what it's been compared to, is the escape room
So
sort
you
of
have
thing.
to see if that value makes sense for you.
Well,
And I think with the price, I don't know if that value makes sense for me with who I'd be playing it with. Because I'd be playing it with you. And I don't know if you and I would want to sit there and go through every single room and be excited about every single one.
I'm glad you brought up the escape room thing, because
I'm glad I did
one
too.
of those escape room boxes, you're thinking $15 to $20. And if you get 6 of those boxes, because say there's 6 different scenarios in this, then you're equaling out to a comparable price point for this, because this does cost $65, and rightly so, because of all of the art and design that's going into making these, because these rooms here also, they don't just like fit together. I believe that they have magnetic pieces where they're going to magnetically fit together and everything with this. They put a lot of detail and love into each and every single room in this game. Like, I want to say it's not just a pop-up book. Like, they did a lot of really great things with this.
No, it is amazing looking. And I think it's the perfect game if you have the right family dynamic. I think if you either were playing this with, like, say, like, your parents that were super, like, you know, kind of like really casual in the gaming, like we've said before, or if you had kids like in the right kind of range where they would want to play like that Scooby-Doo style mystery game where they're watching Scooby-Doo and they want to get into it themselves.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would be amazing. My kid's too old. My kid's already playing Fortnite. I'm not going to get that kid to play this game. Like, they'll play it once, but once they realize, oh, I opened this door, I don't think they'll ever play it again.
So with our chat here, Robert says, the issues I have with the game is, one, is it feels like an exit game, one-time play. Two, people with bad eyesight might have issues with the game. They actually include magnifying glass in the game for that issue specifically.
Does help, but that's it only does so much if you have bad eyesight. Like, I couldn't play this with my glasses off.
So
not that I've ever played a game with my
play
glasses
and pass
off.
game, but the price point is high. No, I agree, it is a play and pass game. You can play this game. Okay, so there's 12 different stories in this game. So
that's
it's
what
actually
we do
more
with
than
Unlock.
6.
Like, we'll play an Unlock and then we try to pass it on to somebody. Or time stories, we'll try to pass. You can't do that with the exits because you tear up stuff sometimes. But
sometimes if you play it and then you leave it on your shelf for a couple years, you can come back to it and you're like, oh yeah, I don't remember any of that.
So that's our plan for Time Story. We've played through Time Stories, like, not all of them, but we played some of the campaigns 2 or 3 times by introducing the new people, and whenever it gets to like a pivotal plot point, we just sit back and let them make the decision.
I'd happily play Greg's copy of this, says Eric. Me too.
Like, I would like to play it. I just don't know if this is something that I need to order and own. I don't think I would get enough plays out of this. But if we had an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old, I could see getting this and playing it with the kids and really enjoying it.
So let's see here. I think the work that has gone into this justifies the price, says John, but it doesn't seem like something I'd want to play more than once. Absolutely. I agree with you, John. It does. I mean, like, the love that they've put into this. The price point is right for this game. You know, even though there is a little bit of a sticker shock as you're going down because of the weight of the game, I think you feel like it would be less expensive. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I really like the innovation they've done with the back window thing where, like, if you're the storyteller, right?
Yes.
And that's the position I would play, would be the storyteller, and you get to kind of facilitate the story. I think that'd be great. Also, if this was pre-COVID and my kid had a bunch of friends over from, like, her class, I could see that, playing it with them. Like,
that would
playing
be
with a bunch
so
of
much
friends or
fun.
something. But with the way everything is right now, and the fact that by the time this game is produced, you know, a kid will be like 11, maybe 12, I don't know, that I just don't see that happening at this point in time. So like I said, it's perfect for the right group. I just don't think I don't think their target demographic is a 38-year-old veteran, right? I don't think they're really trying to get that Army veteran vote.
The art and everything that you have with it, you really have that feel of the little Scooby-Doo gang, you know?
I enjoy Scooby-Doo watching Mystery Inc. with my kid, but I don't watch it on my own after the kid's in bed.
The designer of this specifically made it to play with his family, so I'm sure that he went ahead and ran the game, and he, you know, in the video he said for the Girl Scout troop, and then he went to game stores and stuff. Yeah. So I believe it is set up more for that sort of market where you have that family game, you know, where you the adult is controlling things, and then everybody else in the family is kind of playing.
It's a way to introduce them to, like, kind of a mystery style RPG with you as the DM. Without it being something that you have to put a whole bunch of work into yourself. Like, you don't have to spend hours, like, researching how to make rolls and all that kind of stuff.
I'm going to say, though, more exciting than the exit and unlock games for kids, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
Well, even for adults, it'd be more exciting if they could make one of these.
And for non-gamers or people coming into the gaming hobby, like, that's super exciting.
We call those casual gamers.
Casual gamers. Wow. Casual gamers. If you saw this on the table... whether you're a gamer or not, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I want to play this game. Like,
I saw this
looks amazing. What is this?
So you saw this at Gamma, right?
I saw this at PAX. So back in January.
See, my problem is I'd want to be over there opening all the different doors. I'm like, cool, I found everything.
I did. I was looking in doors. Okay. Well, here's the thing. It's so intricate as you're actually looking at the room. Like, I was opening things and I'm looking at stuff, but you really have to move around in that scenery and look at stuff. Because there's the bookshelves there and everything. And I also love the simplified. We'll come back to the die here in a second.
Yeah,
but you have to look under, like, you could have different tiers of a bookshelf or something like that, and you're looking at the little pictures in there. And when you slide something in, maybe you're the person that's sliding it in, you might be able to see those things, but everything looks so seamless once it's all together, you might not notice it right away. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like somebody's picture in the picture frame, after, 10 plays, you probably know it's there, but that first time, as you're just experiencing and looking all over, there's so much to look at in such a tiny little thing. You're like, not overwhelmed, but you're like mystified. You're like, what is a clue and what is not a clue?
So first off, this campaign is doing really well.
Yes.
But do you think it would be a better... So I think two things would make it a better sell for a hobby gamer.
Okay.
One, if it was modular. So like you got the base set and then you added rooms like as you went along, kind of like you do with the exit games. You don't buy...
I think that they do have an option for some...
Because I know I don't buy exit games
new rooms.
3 at a time. I usually buy them 1 at a time. Okay, so there is some of that. I think that would definitely help because I would want a new room every time I'm playing it so that I felt like I'm discovering new things.
Yes.
And I think the other thing that would make a difference is if there was stipulations that would allow me to open doors or not. So like if I had to do certain things in order to open a door.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
So that way, sometimes even though I know a door is there, I might not be able to open it based off the cards or the die or whatever. I think for me, but once again, I don't think they're trying to sell this to 40-year-olds.
Yeah, so Eric says this isn't a game you'll ever be able to play on TTS, Tabletopia, or the BGA. Seems like a great experience. Absolutely. It's an experience whenever you're playing
Well,
it.
I think what a lot of people have said, like Petter and a couple others have said, this is a great game that you would play like once or twice or whatever with your group, and then you have it out on your coffee table as like a display piece. Like this would be great as our background.
Ooh.
I could see that sitting in the background of our shot here,
background
right?
piece, yeah.
Or taking pictures of it. You took pictures and you did a little video on it actually on our YouTube.
Also,
of you looking at it. And it looks amazing. I just don't think it's something that I'm going to play 20 times a year.
For this game, I really loved the simplification that they put into the die up here where it works, it doesn't work, and there was like another word on it. I can't remember what it was.
I think it kind of works.
It doesn't, something like that.
Yeah, it kind of works.
Yeah. So.
And it backfires.
Right. And
which is
what
cool.
a fantastic simplification of, I mean, they could have just had a die roll in there with pips and been like, okay, these are the things that they mean. But no, just writing it on there just makes it so much easier and integrated for anybody that isn't used to playing games. Like, I love that. I love that. It makes it a game for everyone versus a game for just gamers. And
yeah, it is definitely.
That is so exciting for me.
It does feel like a family weight mystery RPG that you get to run for your family.
The expansion, the Eerie Crypt, I love the art in the Eerie Crypt. I just want like the Eerie Crypt board because, again, like this is a piece I would display because it looks amazing. But I'm excited to see where they go with this, offering more expansions to this giant mansion. If you end up coming out with like a huge 2-story mansion or something with all these different room tiles, that would just be amazing. I'm excited to see where it goes.
I think this is just really great if you play with younger gamers or with people, like we said, that are kind of like newer into the hobby or something. It is a good experience, but it's an experience game that you don't play over and over and over again, I feel like.
I love it. And as far as the dry erase markers go and everything, all of the notes that you write on the character boards, those are all dry erase and everything, which is fantastic. I love it whenever games do that. So the love and effort that went into this game is like 1,000-fold. I'm so excited.
I wouldn't buy this for a 2-year-old Petter. I don't think so. And actually, on our stream yesterday, we had somebody that just found out that they are going to have a kid for the first time. They also should not back it yet because they're 1-year-olds. By the time this comes out, their kid will be 1 probably. Would just tear it up and eat it.
I think 100% if this is your jam, like you should get it. If you love exit games, you should probably get it because you're going to be able to play enough stories that it's going to make it worth the price point and everything. It's just about thinking about it in the right way because those exit games are $20, $15 to $20 a piece.
See, I'm not even necessarily worried about the price. I'm just thinking about replayability and stuff. Like I have all the time in the world to replay this 1,000,000 times. I think, though, can you think of a better Kickstarter story than this? Than a father who wanted to create a game for their kids, first-time creator, and then made $200,000. This is exactly what Kickstarter
was made.
Right, it's what it's for. I'm sure Kickstarter was made to make money.
Look at that look at that. I wouldn't have thought of opening that right there. Look at this tiny little one right here.
I would have opened it.
How dare you, Dr. Gloryhogg?
I would be touching all the things. Yeah, you'd have to do something where like I'd have to sit on my hands and I can only open it if some like the right stipulations happen in the game or something, I think. But I'm so glad this exists. Once again, this is another one of the things I think without Kickstarter wouldn't exist, and I'm glad it's out there in the market. But just because I'm glad a game is out there in the market doesn't mean it's one that I want to throw my money at. But I would like for other people to throw their money at it.
And then I would like to play their version of it. Wow. So I'd like to play their copy.
Well, I wasn't going to say that.
So if you're backing this game, let us know in the comments because we're going to come over
when you're visiting Arizona
to your place and we're going to play the game whenever it comes out, okay?
And then you get to keep it. So it's a win-win for you.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you've got the funds and you want to support a first-time designer, I mean, go for it, definitely.
Absolutely.
Realistically, we don't have the funds because we back new games every week. So we have to be really particular because we run out of money.
These people, they've been at the different game shows and stuff like that, like PAXs and everything. I've seen them around. They are working to become more known in the community and everything, even though they're a new designer. So they're not just a, one and done and run off sort of person, I think. I think that they have some really cool plans here for this. So I'm excited.
Mr. Hawk, if you think that we would go to England and not stop by your flat, then you are dead wrong.
Yeah, that's right. We totally would.
We might not even tell you. We would just show up. So if England happens, we're coming over.
Next up, we have The Night Cage. This is by Smirk and Dagger Games. It's for 1 to 4 players, and it should last about 50 minutes. This is about being trapped in the dark, and you are only able to see like forward, backwards, left, and right of yourself, and you're in an ever-changing labyrinth with monsters in the dark.
So this game is amazing. We got to play this with Smirk and Dagger's Kurt. We have the code for Tabletop Simulator. We're going to play it with some people on our Discord after this show.
Absolutely.
As soon as we can set it up, of course. So if you're on our Discord, we'll post a link to Discord again. It's actually in the description of this video. This game is stupid good. This reminds me of how excited I got about Nyctophobia for it being a unique game.
Yes.
You are literally, you have no memory. You're in the dark. You don't know who these other people are around you, and everyone's crawling on their hands and knees with this tiny wax candle that is slowly dripping and getting like darker and darker. And as you're going through this game, like this labyrinth is never ending. You hit a wall, you don't actually hit a wall. You go through it and you go to the other side. You fall through a pit, you fall through it and you land somewhere else on the map. You never find a wall in this game. You are more likely to find a monster that is going to steal your light than you are to find an exit out of this game. We lost. Hardcore. We lost. And everyone has to get a key because you always play as 4 characters. Everyone has to get a key and everyone has to make on the same gate to get out. There's so much teamwork and planning and just mishaps that can happen to you in this game. It is so thematic. And I am so excited that we get to play this game. Like, so excited.
The ever-changing labyrinth is, when I first saw this game, they were like, "Oh, did you want to go ahead and try this game out?" And
I thought it was going to be simple.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and
you'll
then
hit the walls. And
I saw the ever-changing labyrinth, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna love this game so much." The fact that when you move from an area and you can no longer see there, and then the tiles come off the board, and then when you go back to that area, it's going to be completely different tiles. You don't know what's going to happen to you off of that little tiny area that you have, and you can try to work together and kind of clump up and see, like, if you can see more area and get more area connected together. But then that's also dangerous because it's easier for the monsters to attack you when you're so close together, you know?
Yeah, they can hit multiple people.
Absolutely.
I can't think of a board game, besides Nyctophobia, which you play blind, essentially, that builds a level of terror like this one does. You are crawling around the dark, and when I got hit by a wax eater and they stole my candle, basically.
Then you're just in the dark.
And I was in the dark, and then I had to go move one tile at a time without even knowing what's in front of me.
Yeah.
That was creepy. And you're losing tiles as you go, and if you run out of tiles, you run out of time.
Game's over.
So you have to make all these strategic ideas of like, is it worth moving here because I'm going to flip over more tiles, which might find me stuff, or not? Is it worth staying here and discarding tiles, which means I might get rid of the only, there's only so many keys and so many gates in the game. Am I going to discard gates or keys and make it impossible to win? It is really good.
Love what they did, too, with the tile management of this game right here. You see how the tiles actually look like a candle here?
And it burns down.
It burns down as you play the game because you're burning through tiles.
Yeah.
This game is amazing, everyone.
It is.
The detail that they put into this. And I'm so excited. I'm gonna scroll down because there's
Let me put it to you this way. When we were playing it, so Kurt, the owner of Smirk and Dagger, didn't invent this game, right? He bought this from somebody or worked with somebody to design this.
Right.
The people who made it were some friends that got together and make this really cool terror game. They were not big board gamers, so I think they brought a really unique idea to the gaming world. This game was intense enough that Kurt did an evil laugh 3 or 4 times just on his own. Like, not for any real reason. He just couldn't help it being like, because it does.
That's right.
It gets stupid intense where you're like, oh my gosh, is this really happening? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so let's see here. We have, John says, honestly, I've never paid the attention to
the game based off just the name alone.
There you go.
But this description makes him want to check it out, which, Yeah, I wasn't 100% sold when I first heard about it because we got approached to play this game, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to play this game on your channel?" We're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll check it out, right?" Because we're always looking for Kickstarter games to play so that you guys can see it in action and decide for yourselves if it's a game you want to play.
Absolutely.
But that just because somebody approaches us that way doesn't mean we'll have it on our show.
Right.
Because there are games that we have
because nobody
played,
pays to be on the show.
Right. So there are games that we have played that have not been on the show specifically because we're like, okay, we played it, we weren't
And
maybe
we're not
sold,
excited,
or,
so
it just doesn't make sense for our audience, whatever it is. It's not the right mix. This game though is, I mean, I'm backing this like 100%. I'm going all in because I want the creepy soundtrack. If you go deluxe, you get the creepy soundtrack and you get candles. And there's new monsters. There's actually another set of monsters that might be unlocked. I'm not going to say what it is.
Right.
But these keepers, if I remember correctly, the way these keepers work, they replace some of your other monsters. They have the key inside of them,
Yes,
and you have to
go
attack
around
them from behind. So if you try to attack them from the sides, you get hurt and you lose your light.
But here's the thing.
But you have to have somebody distract them.
Yes,
like
because
stand in front of them and take hits in order for you to get behind them and take the key from them.
if you move from a tile where you can't see it, then it disappears and then the monster's gone and then you can't get the key. Like, what a genius way to create a monster where it's dangerous, but you're also having to distract it and stay in one place.
Yeah.
Like, the other monsters that they created for this to be unveiled as stretch goals and stuff, I am so excited about. So excited about. Like, they have some amazing, amazing things planned for this campaign and the stretch goals, and I hope that they meet every single one of them because I'm backing this game.
Okay.
I'm backing this game.
I mean, I don't even know how to explain this. Like, the game has got me so excited. I have like that slight adrenaline. I drank too much coffee on an empty stomach feeling just talking about it. And I've only gotten to play it once, but it is one that I just really enjoyed. And I think getting to play it, like, I just want to play this like in the dark with these candles and just creep people out, man. I got to creep people out in Nyctophobia by coming up behind them when they were blindfolded and be like whispering in their ear, like, "I'm not over there," and stuff like that. And that was so much fun. This is a super creepy game, and I love it because of that. I love the creeps.
So let's see here.
And I'm not even a big horror fan.
Zirconium Moon says, I bought Subterra a month ago and it seems very similar, but I want it so bad.
Yeah.
I totally understand that when you back something, you're like, just get to my house.
I'll have to look at Subterra.
We did a thing on Subterra, which you're in the dark and you're trying to go through the different tiles, but that one's a little bit more
dungeon
crawl-esque. Yes.
Yeah, this one here. This is like Carcerone and horror mixed.
Yes.
Right? Because it is the
tile
laying
laying's
game.
easy.
Super easy.
But it's super challenging and then it's like a little trippy because
this is a co-op game
of the way it works.
I don't even know if everyone gets that. It's co-op. Everyone has to get a key and get out.
Yeah.
We had 3 out of 4 keys and I got a key, but we couldn't get my character to the gate before we ran out of time.
Yeah.
So the lights went dark.
It was so sad.
And when you
we
lose,
were so close.
You have to imagine in your mind, right? Because it's like any horror movie. It gets more freakier the more you think about it. When you lose, it's because your light flickers out and the wax monsters overcome you.
Sad.
Because the only thing that keeps the wax monsters away
scary.
is the light, but it's also what attracts them is the light. So it is, yeah, I'm all in for a scary soundtrack, little candles that move, acrylic tiles that you put on top. Some of the tiles will be acrylic.
So let's see here.
I'm in on deluxe for this one.
David
Even though we could get a copy of this, and we have a copy on Tabletop Simulator, I have to have the deluxe version of this because
Deluxe
the
all
more
the way.
thematic this game is, the better.
So David says, another back this week. I hope it won't break my back. So the starting price for this game is $35 if you want just the base game, which is incredibly inexpensive for this game, okay? $35. If you want this all-in crazy pledge thing here, you're going to get the acrylic upgrade kit with acrylic pieces and everything for the gates, acrylic nerve tokens, like you're going to get the soundtrack, which is totally worth it.
Right.
These flickering candles, I'm
cool.
so stupid excited about.
I want that soundtrack.
As your light goes out in the game, you can actually turn off the light in front of you, and
So
your
people know you
actual
don't have the light.
your actual candlelight goes out, and I love that. It adds so much to the game. It's so crazy.
Okay, can I share a story? I know you don't necessarily like my stories.
How dare you? I don't want no story. No.
Do you know what story this is going to be?
I don't know.
It's the Lost one, Lost story. I don't know if you remember this. Okay, so I'll try to keep this brief, but there was a period of time when I was in Iraq, and it's dark there, right? Like, so if there's no moon, you can't see anything, even with night vision. And I was tasked to go somewhere. And there's a lot of sandstorms and stuff. And I went to the place, and I had to make my way back to my fighting position, which is just a hole you dig in the ground. And so everybody's in this hole, in their holes, and everyone's really hard to see, right? So I went far enough out that when I had to walk back, I didn't have a compass or any way to direct me to my hole. So I had to go off of memory. I walked, and I could not find my hole. And I was in the position of knowing that if I went too far, I would be in front of people, my own team, and they wouldn't know it's me, and they could shoot me. Or I could go the wrong way and just like walk off into nothingness. And it was pitch black. I couldn't see anything. And I got to the point where I was literally making little circles and like on my hands and knees trying to find the hole and everything of where my fighting position is and find my battle buddy. And it was the scariest thing. I was out for a couple of hours before I heard some voices. And I had no idea if those voices were American or if they were Iraqi or some other country. I had no idea. So I had to sneak up. I probably spent 30 minutes sneaking up on these voices until I could clearly hear English words.
Yes.
And then figure out that it was actually a different platoon. It was actually the leadership portion of my unit. I was able to come up on them, but I had to first off be like, this is Specialist Rider approaching. I had to be very loud, so they knew that it was me, so they didn't shoot me. And I had to approach them, and then they ended up they were able to contact my platoon leader. With compass and stuff, they were able to lead us back and lead me back to my position. I didn't get in trouble or anything. They were more worried because I'd been missing for like 4 or 5 hours. And I thought that I was going to just have to hunker down and sleep until I could find my way out. This game is that experience of being on your hands and knees, crawling through the dark, hoping that every noise you hear is a friend and not a foe.
Oh, absolutely.
And I can't even explain to you how amazing that is. Now, this is one of the scariest things that's ever happened to me in my life. And I could go into way more depth, obviously, but the fact that they were able to make that experience, this is something that is terrifying to me, to be on your hands and knees crawling through the dark looking for something. And if you've never been in that position where you are truly lost and you have no light and no way to know if you're going closer to or farther away from of your objective, and if the voices you hear are a monster or if they are a friend, another player character, it is terrifying. And this game does such a good job of recreating that
feeling as you're going through the game. Having the feeling in a game.
How do you do that?
Yeah, that's my favorite part about the games that I love and those are the really ones that you really, really end up loving, is the ones that as you're playing it, you're not just playing a game, you're not just there doing these actions and placing meeples, like you actually have a feeling within you that is burning and you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like this thing is happening. Yeah. And when you can recreate that in a board game, because it's easier to recreate that when you're reading a story.
Or in a video game where there's the visual and audio stimulation.
Or in a movie. Yeah. But when you can create that with cardboard on the table, that is an amazing feeling.
And we even played on Tabletop Simulator, which is even, it works, but let's be real. Tabletop Simulator is not as good as in person.
So Petter says, I love the horror that the story sells. It really does it really well in terms of setting the feel. And Robert says, just back this game. Been there, done that, Doc, says Vincent.
I am sorry,
oh my
Vincent.
gosh.
That is not somewhere anybody needs to be
honest. Gosh. Robert says, perfect for Halloween. Yes, this is a go-to Halloween game. 100%. Go-to Halloween game. Absolutely. Eric says, my kid is scared of specific flavors of yogurt. I'm going to have to play Greg's copy of this one, too.
And that's fair. This is definitely a game for somebody that is okay being scared. Now, you can play this as light as you want. You
absolutely can.
You can play this as just a tile-laying game. But if you are one of those people that can get into a movie or a game by picturing yourself there, this is the one.
Yes, absolutely. I had such a fun time. And you know what? If you guys want to see this in action, if everyone wants to see this in action, we're going to be playing this on Sunday.
At noon.
And after this, we are actually going to hop on our Discord and play some games with all of you.
So if you're part of the pack, if you're part of the Discord pack and you want to...
You just want like a little intro,
taste of this, we can play a little bit of it.
We're going to play a little bit of it, and we're going to pick some of you that are on Discord to come play with us. So if you have Tabletop Sim, we're down. We're going to play this. So,
all right, so now that it's all been emotional, right?
Yes.
So we had her crying on Champions of Horror. You've got to hear my super intense war story.
Yes.
And also my awesome bike story, which was on a different one. That was on, I forget which game that was on. Oh, the Quirky Circuits game. So you guys have gotten to see a little bit of how games can really affect people, right? And I want you guys to know that we really appreciate you being part of our community. It's the only reason why we're doing it. We have been funding this out of our own pockets for years now, since it was a podcast.
Right.
And we're now getting to the position where people are being kind enough to send us games so that we can showcase them to you because they love our community as much as we love them. And I just want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you to everyone who wants to be part of the pack and join us on Discord where we're trying to build up a community. And I hope that we will see some of you there. Very soon.
Absolutely.
We've got some amazing games coming up. We're always pushing to get new games. I was actually just recently talking to somebody about getting in another Kickstarter game that we weren't able to back, but they're going to send it to us so that we can play it live for everyone. And that's not all. So sorry, I got long-winded there. I lost my train of thought. But thank you. Thank you was the point. Games are amazing, and games can really affect you both in good and positive ways. And I think it's good to relive some of these experiences, even if they are super emotional. In a game, it helps you process them in an abstract way so that I'm not living that moment, but I get to have a taste of that moment and then I can distance myself from it.
Yeah,
resolve that.
That's really interesting. That happens a lot in RPGs, and I don't know how many of our viewers are RPG players, but like that happens a lot more, I think, in RPGs, where it happens much less in board games. And it's always interesting whenever you do hit a board game that is able to give you those sort of feelings and really hit you emotionally, hit you at home, and like you get like an amazing experience with that and everything. And like that's really cool. That's cool, Dr. Gloryhogg. Thanks so much for sharing all that.
I do have to, of course, we always want you guys to like and subscribe, right? Because it does help us out.
Absolutely. Share, like, subscribe.
It shows publishers that we are worth sending a game to. So it helps us share more games with you whenever you like and subscribe. We actually have winners for our 1,000 person.
That's right.
We hit 1,000 subscribers about a month ago, and we've already added 200 since then, which is really amazing for us.
So exciting!
Our growth was pretty slow because it's a self-funded show. We can't pay for promotions. You know, we can't buy all of the games.
Right.
So we always have to pick. But we actually do have the winners here for. The first winner is going to be for 7th Continent, the game we played live. The second winner is going to be for 100 Tory, which we played live. And so you get our live copy that we actually played. So there's some
we played all of them live, yeah.
And then you can also get a copy of, the third winner is going to get a copy of Taverns of Tiefenthal, which we played live. So we're doing it with our live games so that the games that were sent to us, basically we're trying to reshare them back to you.
Absolutely,
right?
Yeah. Because when we get those games and everything, like, we get to play them, we get to experience them, and we want to like pass that on to everybody else.
And I took today off, so I don't have to go back to work after this.
That's right, so we can play all the games.
Hence why we're going to play some Tabletop Simulator games, because if I got free time, I want to spend it with everybody.
Oh, the comments, you all are amazing. Thank you so much for all your sweet comments.
Do you want to name off our winners?
Yes, I want to name off our winners so bad. Okay.
Right, you do the first one. Can I get the second one?
Okay.
Or the third? I'll do the third.
How about, since the first one's big, I'll do the first one, you can do the last two.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, the winner of 7th Continent is Michael, a.k.a. Rover Chaplin from Las Vegas, Nevada.
We're going to be contacting We're going to drive it over to your house. No, we will mail it still. We will mail you the game.
We're going to be contacting you via email. So if you are watching this, have watched this, make sure to check your email, okay? I hate it whenever I try to send something to somebody and then they never answer their email, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wanted to just give you some stuff, okay?
I haven't had that happen yet, but I know you've done it for Steve Jackson.
Yeah, I've done it for other people and stuff.
So our second winner is somebody that I have met in person, like I have met some of you. We met them at an Arizona Game Fair game trade, and that is Martha Selman.
That's right,
and so Martha was actually somebody that bought some of our games that we were trying to pass along, and we did some trades and stuff, and so it's really awesome that somebody local that met us here locally is going to be one of the winners.
Right. That's so exciting. And they're in Surprise, Arizona. So
we will probably still mail it.
That's right. So we will still be mailing you your copy. Check your email.
That's at least an hour drive, I want to say. I think. I don't know. I have to look it up to see. And then our last winner is the one that I always call the Highlander, Kiefer McConnell, because that is the perfect Highlander name. So Kiefer McConnell won Taverns of Tiefenthal. So I hope that you like beer, because that's a game about beer.
That's right. Well, it's a game about getting your patrons in and then like doing
It's about running a successful bar, the Red Dragon Inn.
Successful? What? No.
I don't even remember who won that one when we played it. I think I might have won that one.
Oh, Mike Farrell says, darn, you just backed it. And everybody's saying congratulations to all the winners. Absolutely.
Definitely.
In the future, we are definitely going to be doing more of that.
Yes, Martha, you won.
Absolutely.
You won 100 Tory, the game we played live. So we will send you the copy we played live. We will be mailing that to you.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we love all of you in chat. Thank you so much for joining us here today. We appreciate you hanging out with us. hop on over to our Discord if you want to play some games on Tabletop Sim with us.
And that
because we're going to do
Discord
that
link
right now.
is in the description of this video, along with the link to all of the Kickstarters if you haven't actually looked at them and you wanted to do more of your own research.
And as we grow, we hope to do more of these giveaways for all of you
Yes.
because you are all amazing and you make this show so great and wonderful.
Right.
Thank you so much.
We
Thank
only
you.
do it live because you people are here.
All right, we will see all of you a little later. And don't forget, we're going to be playing Night Cage on Saturday, or I'm sorry, on Sunday at noon. And we're also going to be playing Cordon Conflict next week as well.
That's going to be on the Board Game
Spotlight channel. We'll send you guys information for that. Other than that, we will see you all later. Bye.
Bye, everyone.